Hey guys, it's Bullseye, and just real quick, the style of this game really is about the sort of audio from the great voice acting that is in this game. So I'm not going to have commentary throughout the game until the end. I know I gave it kind of a negative title, not worth $20, and you'll see why at the end, but I don't want to detract from your experience of the playthrough. If you want to enjoy it, I try to fast forward through the boring parts and let you hear the audio, because that's the real meat of this game that you will enjoy if it's your cup of tea. So I'm going to leave that for you there, and then skip to the end if you just want to hear my sort of pseudo rant, but not really, but kind of.
Dear Katie, so much has changed, even just since you've been away. We moved into this house. I'm in a new school, and my big sister being gone for a year doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't feel real, but I'm not gonna let it faze me. I used to tell you everything, and if I can't do it in person, because you're off gallivanting around who knows where, I'll tell it to this journal, just like I was talking to you. Oh my God. You are so lucky you finished high school before we moved into this house. So, it's the first day of school, and there I am, introducing myself to the class. And I say that I just moved into the house on Arbor Hill. All of a sudden, every kid in the room turns and just stares like I suddenly transformed into a mutant. I just stood there, wishing pretty hard for a rewind button. Because now maybe nobody knows my name, but they all know who I am. The Psycho House girl. Great. You know that feeling where the first moment you see someone, it's like they have a big gold star around them, and you have to get to know them? Well, there's this girl. I think she's a senior. She's usually dressed kind of punk, but sometimes I see her in this, like, army uniform, and she's always drawing in this notebook, looking so intense. I had no idea how I would ever, like, have an excuse to talk to her. Till I noticed she and her friends hang out and play Street Fighter at the 7-Eleven every day after school. So you know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men? Yeah, turns out it applies to Street Fighter too. At least I worked up the courage to walk into the 7-Eleven and ask for a turn, but all that practice at home did not exactly translate in the wild. So after I was finished getting my butt kicked, I followed them outside while they smoked. And that was when she asked me if I was that psycho house girl. But then she said she's always really wanted to see the psycho house. Her name is Lonnie. She's coming over tomorrow. It's weird hanging out with girls. Daniel was around ever since I was little, and other girls? I don't know. But being around Lonnie is like instantly just right. I gave her the grand Psycho House tour and took my revenge on Super Nintendo. And it was like, I don't know, I finally found someone I feel normal around. I drove her home and she gave me this tape and said, "You have got to listen to this." I haven't stopped playing it since. Lonnie brought her hair dye over today. She said, "I need to fix these roots. Think you could help?" Dyeing hair is weirdly intimate. I don't know if I've touched someone else's scalp before. That's pretty intimate, right? It felt intimate. We looked in the mirror together after, and I expected her to say something about how it looked crappy or good or whatever. But that's when she said, "You're so beautiful." And she was looking at me. Right in that moment, I wanted to say something, but I waited, and the moment was gone. Sometimes you just have to lie to Mom and Dad. Like when Lonnie asked me to see a band with her and stay over at her friend's place in the city after. That's a lie to Mom and Dad's situation. But it was so worth it. The girls on stage were just so loud and real and awesome. And everybody was moving together like one huge tide of sound. Between two songs, Lonnie leaned over and said, "How do you like your first show?" I was so happy. I felt tears starting in my eyes. And then she up and hugged me. I think she could tell. Lonnie came over today, but everything was different. She was sitting at my desk chair, and she wouldn't look at me. Finally, I asked her what was going on. She said she felt like she'd done something wrong that night in the city. Like I must think... But I said no. There was nothing wrong. I just wanted to say... But I couldn't find the words. I felt like I was gonna cry, but I wasn't sad. She got up and sat next to me on the bed. I looked at her. Lonnie, do you think you could ever... And that's when she kissed me. It's different now. I mean, we still hang out all the time like before. But now when no one else is around... Well, you know. So you could say we're dating. But it's secret. Secret dating? I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the real difference. Now when we get off the phone or go home for the night, where it's just quiet and we're alone, we say I love you. They tell you to stick with the group on field trips, Katie. There's a reason for that. Lonnie and I snuck off on the side paths at Multnomah Falls and got a little lost. Okay, a lot lost. Like, for hours. Right before the bus left, we found a trail and came running down the path, soaked and covered in mud, shouting for the bus not to leave. The school called home. Mom and Dad said, "You didn't get into trouble like this before you met that Lonnie girl." But I don't think they know about us. The kids at school, though, I'm really afraid that's a whole other story. Stick with the group, Katie. Stick with the group. I don't get Lonnie sometimes. Like, her band, and our zine, and her hair, and everything are all anti-authority. But I watch her in JROTC, and she's doing drills in perfect formation, following orders, no question. And there's all this stuff in the news about don't ask, don't tell. Like, she's going to join the army and then have to lie about who she is. She said they don't need to know what they don't need to know. Like it was no big deal. This from the girl who trashed her locker to, like, defend my honor. I've learned when to stop arguing, though. I don't think Lonnie even gets Lonnie sometimes. Daniel finally came over to get his game. I'd been dreading it. But he brought this story with him that I wrote when we were little. I started reading it, and then there I was, crying at the kitchen table. He asked what was wrong, and I was thinking about how we used to be friends, how much I'd taken for granted. But instead, I told him about school, and Dad, and Lonnie. And then how sorry I was that I wasn't his friend anymore. He gave me a hug and said it was going to be okay. For some reason, I almost believed him. We agreed our last night together would be our happiest ever, and we'd forget tomorrow was going to come at all. It worked for a while. We had a good time seeing Oscar off, then ran up to the attic to look through our photos, to find one for Lonnie to take with her. And looking at them, I realized they were all in the past, and there wouldn't be any more. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I cried, and she held me. She said she knew it was hard, but life would move on. I said I didn't want my life to keep moving without her. That's when she cried too. The sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic, it almost feels like Lonnie could still be here. She's just downstairs. I'm just waiting to hear her pull down the hatch and come running up. Maybe I'll go up to the attic and wait. Oh my God. Katie, I fell asleep in the attic, in Lonnie and my old spot, and I missed the first 2 calls. I just barely caught the 3rd one before the machine got it. And it was Lonnie, on a payphone. She'd been on the bus to Basic, and she said she couldn't think of anything but me and us, and that she couldn't go through with it, with the Army and being a part and all of it. And so she got off the bus in Salem. She said, "Sam, I want you to pack up everything you can and get in your car and come find me. And let's just drive until we find somewhere for us." And she asked me if I could do that. And I said yes. Yes. Katie, I'm so sorry that I can't be there to see you in person, that I can't tell you all this myself. But I hope as you read this journal and you think back, that you'll understand why I had to do what I did. And that you won't be sad, and you won't hate me, and you'll just know that I am where I need to be. I love you so much, Katie. I'll see you again, someday. Love, Sam.
Okay, so now we're done, and now we're just going to get into why I titled it the way I did, what I think about the game, and why, honestly, it seems like a lot of people drink the Kool-Aid that I kind of want to know where they got it from. You know, I definitely did not get the same take that they did. Now, let's first talk about what some of the things this game did great. First of all, as you see right there, Sarah Grayson as Sam. That woman is a great voice actor. That's all I'm gonna say. She brought that character to life, and in that I give this company and the storytelling props. You brought that character to life, and at the same time, and I don't want to detract from their great storytelling whatsoever. What I'm saying, and this isn't worth $20. I'm not even trying to necessarily attack the company. I'm looking right now at critics and whoever priced this game, which I know is a combination of the publisher, Sony, whatever else. $20 for a game that you can literally beat in a minute is ridiculous, okay? $20 for a game that after you play once, you're most likely not going to play again unless you're trying to get those trophies is ridiculous. Now, it took me an hour to go through the game the first time because I'm an over-explorer. And I also wanted to pause on pages so that even though I wasn't reading them, someone watching the video, if they didn't necessarily want to pause it and read it, might have enough time to read it themselves. Okay? But otherwise, it would have been a very quick playthrough. And I think there's a couple of recordings I didn't get because I didn't get a trophy for finding all 23, but at the same time, I have no desire to go back and do it. I've got the experience, I've got the story. And it was a fun experience, but not worth $20. I'm sorry. Maximum 10. And I'll tell you why. In this day and age, as gamers, unless you just have a huge disposable income, most of the time you're picking and choosing what you play, taking a chance on it, maybe renting it first, or getting a friend to let you play it. And sometimes we do have to take the dive, and there's plenty of times we get disappointed. That's why we do go to critics and websites and review first to see what other people are saying, maybe watch a YouTube video to see what it's like. I mean, that's almost one of the best things to do now is watch that gameplay, see if it's worth your time. And even then, sometimes you get it and you personally don't like it. It's just how it is. No different than a movie. Sometimes you get a movie and the critics say, oh man, you got to go see this, you got to go see this, and you go that and you thought it sucked. Or everybody's, oh man, this thing got 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then you go out and you're just like, well, I actually kind of like that. maybe extreme examples, but I think you get the point. And that's where I come into this. I just don't understand why it got such raving reviews. And I looked into it. Came out in 2013. And some of the things that made me, honestly, I really wanted to play this game. One, because it looked interesting in the previews, and it had all these raving reviews. Oh, this is groundbreaking, the best love story of any video game, blah, 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 blah. Then I finish it and go and read more reviews, and honestly just kind of got ticked and wondering where I've gone wrong. I mean, are critics nowadays for video games people that really just haven't been playing that long, or trying to reach an audience that just doesn't play very much or hasn't played very long? I don't know. But I took issue with a lot of things. First of all, 2013 saw Grand Theft Auto 5, Tomb Raider, countless other games. Now, if you want to say that this is the best indie game, then I won't have an argument with you there. But the best PC game of 2013 in light of some other games, no. No, and that goes into several things. I'm sorry, but I feel like if you're going to say that something is the best game, not only does it have to, you're looking at not just the story, but you're looking at story, gameplay, replayability, your bang for your buck, the thing we were talking about where it's not worth $20. All these other things together, controls, features, you're doing all of this. Tomb Raider in 2013 was a far superior game to this overall. Far. And I just don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something. And when it comes into, just to expound a little more on that, let's say, Rainbow Six Siege came out. And I saw the videos, and I saw it, and I liked online shooters, and so I was tentative to buy it, but I took the plunge on that one. And I was disappointed. Now, I have fun with the game. I play it here and there still, but no single-player story. And the online does get a little repetitive. Not worth $60. I'm sorry. That's why with Star Wars Battlefront, I waited till that was on sale before I got it. I think I ended up buying 40 or 50% off. That's when I finally picked it up. My sister and I did. And for that price, worth your money. Would not have been worth it for $60, I don't feel. And so that happens every now and then. But then you get certain games like indie games like Salt and Sanctuary comes out. Now, I don't know if you like hardcore games like Dark Souls or anything like that, but if you do, give that game a try. For $20 on that one, that is well worth your money. But not for a game where it probably is only going to take the average person 30 minutes to get through, no complex puzzles to deal with. You're literally just walking around, experiencing the house, and you're done. That's great. But you shouldn't be price gouging people for it, okay? And then let's go into this whole thing where it's the greatest love story. I don't see it. So you got a girl. You get the idea that they moved there, got the house from a relative, moved there. Father, definitely troubles at home. Father is almost kind of like a failed writer, or used to have some success, but went downhill. We find evidence later that the mother gets a new job, and then the father starts writing again. But there's evidence of marriage problems, probably heading towards divorce. They go to a retreat, but those are hit or miss. We've seen it growing up. And so she's got the stress from that. She's getting probably somewhat bullied at school because she's living in the quote-unquote psycho house. And then she develops feelings for her female friend Lonnie. She makes a statement later on that she doesn't think her parents know, but her friends or people at school. And so there is some stress in her life, and you feel like maybe she's getting ostracized for her relationship with Lonnie. And then at the end, and this is where I kind of come into some mixed feelings, because the game had kind of a dark tone to it, okay? I'm sure the game developers meant it in a way to make it serious and engrossing. But it also, I don't know if they meant to throw you for a loop, but if you can tell in the audio, there's certain points in the game, and I even got this feeling from watching previews of the game when it first hit console. I almost thought there was going to be a jump scare factor to it. In fact, I was walking around hallways a little slow. I was like, man, is this going to be a jump scare? Is this going to be over here? It never happened, and I'm okay with that, but, there definitely were sounds in the game, like people moving furniture, and that fed into the whole haunted house thing that never came to fruition. Then on top of that, you get to the point where she talks about her friend, I think it was David, okay? And she apologizes to him for not being his friend anymore. Um, we can only guess why. And probably, I think it was maybe because he had feelings for her and she obviously didn't, so maybe she just broke it off. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, fine. But she apologized to him. He says it's going to be all, and she tells him about Lonnie, and he says he accepts it. Says it's going to be okay. And then she basically alludes to almost like a very ominous, foreboding future, okay? Coupled with the part where you finally get under the stairs, you find the little thing where they release Oscar's spirit, that little thing. I'm sure it was fun for him. And then she starts talking, and there's almost like a heartbeat going, okay? So you get the key to go to the attic. There's like this heartbeat that almost like starts to fade, it seems to me. And um, she goes up and she's talking about maybe any moment Lonnie will come up. For whatever reason, and maybe this is just from my own life experiences, and for that, I'll give them credit. They did a great job of making you jump into the story. But what I'm saying is, yet again, plenty of other games have made me do that and had my heart sink. And so I'm getting to that point. I was like, oh crap. And I just had this really bad feeling. I was like, please don't let me find this girl dead in the attic, because I was looking at all the things like the attic's locked, the red lights are on, the sign says don't go in the attic when the red lights are on, and the eerie setting, her kind of depressing tone going through. I'm just thinking, it's like, man, don't tell me this girl committed suicide in the attic. And even there was like the voicemail where Lonnie is crying, and I think I walked away too soon. From it, but it all wrapped up. I don't know if they meant to give you that feeling, but I got it, and I was like, don't do this. And then you get up there and nobody was like, okay, whew. But then you go to the back and flip the book, and that's the end of the game. It was very anticlimactic to me. And so the last voicemail message was, okay, she can't do this, and we're running away together. And as it ended, and I sat there thinking, I was like, and I wasn't in the military, so anybody out there that's in the military or knows better than me, I don't feel like researching it. I understand the concepts of AWOL and all that. Was this girl Lonnie at the point where the fact that she left for Sam made her AWOL, where she would get in trouble? If so, maybe that's why it got the quote, best love story in any video game. Because otherwise, I'm sorry, I don't think you deserve that. And for people to keep giving it that, what Kool-Aid are you drinking? There wasn't enough time. Did you get involved in the story and feel part of this home? Sure. But for such a quick title, to call this the greatest love story ever, when you really don't have that much time to emotionally get invested and feel any loss, I felt no loss of them or no connection to them, is completely ridiculous. I really, somebody please help me understand that. It's ridiculous. And then on top of that, I mean, this is selfishness. Now again, if they were running because she was going to get in trouble and their love was over-encompassing, I could understand a little more. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's what I'm missing. But otherwise, you've got trouble at home. Parents are at a retreat. You don't know if that works, and then they're going to come home and find out their daughter ran away, and no indication if she's coming back. And that's not love. You guys didn't take the courage to stand up and say, "This is what we are. Are you going to accept this?" They're not taking that chance. They're just running away from it, and that's bullcrap. This sister of yours who's looking for you now, this family of yours that has invested their life in you and their love in you, and you're just running away for somebody else because you want to. That's selfish. You can have both. So maybe I'm just more family oriented or something than most people, and I don't think that your personal love has to come at the expense of love of your family or shunning them. You can have both. You can do both. If they reject you, okay, then run away. Whatever. But at least give them the chance. Otherwise, you're just copping out, taking the easy street. And especially the sister, Katie. I mean, she leaves plenty of notes for here. It's obvious that she loves her sister. So, overall, I give the game a 7 out of 10 myself. I wouldn't go as low as a 6 out of 10. I give the game a 7 out of 10 because that voice actor really did a phenomenal job, I have to say. But all things considered, it was a mundane house and a mundane experience. In a nutshell, it was a quick story that maybe I'm just getting too caught up on the price point. Sorry about that. But I just don't see where people are getting all these just magnanimous, over the top reviews for this game. It's my 2 cents. Love it or hate it. Let me know what you think. Hoping to make more content for you guys. Have a great day.